Welcome to Real Health with me, Karl Henry. Folks, it's one of those episodes that we do every now and again. JJ, my producer, is in studio and he's going to pepper me with some questions that we pulled from my Instagram Q&A. There are several questions at certain times of the year that come in time and time and time again. So we pulled those questions and JJ has them written down and we're going to run through the questions live on today's podcast. So it's one of those episodes to get a pen and paper out, to take some notes, because chances are the questions, because they come in so much, they're questions that you really want to know, and they're questions that you're going to want to get the answers from, because as ever, we're going to deliver some really simple content. We're going to tell people what to do, how to do it, and how to resolve their health and fitness issues. We're like the fitness agony aunt today, Jay. That's what we're going to do today.
We are indeed.
Yeah. And as ever, folks, before we get started, don't forget to rate and review us on wherever you get your podcasts from. Every single rating makes a big difference. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe as well. Some of the new software updates unsubscribe people automatically across all the podcasts. So click the subscribe button, rate and review as well. That means a huge amount to us, doesn't it, JJ?
It does indeed. We appreciate everyone.
Absolutely.
And so I'll kick off with question number one from one of our listeners. Should I be using MyFitnessPal as a nutrition aid? Are their calorie guides accurate?
Really good question. We see this with clients. We see this a huge amount. The use of technology in terms of basically calorie tracking and food diarying. There are pros and cons. First thing I would say that if you go to MyFitnessPal and put in weight loss, it's going to give you 1,200 calories, chances are. It seems to give everybody 1,200 calories, unless you're like, have a lot of muscle mass. The number is too low. And that's the biggest issue with it. No one can stick to 1,200 calories long term. It will deliver results, but they're very short. So you need to override that and bring your calorie count up. Even for most people, you're looking between 1,600 and 2,000 calories, depending on size, weight, muscle mass, fat mass, all of that. But that's a general guide. Yes, the weight loss will be a little bit slower, but it's more long term. And MyFitnessPal, it won't automatically do that. So go into the settings, adjust the calorie intake, and then look at your protein, your carbohydrates, and your fats, and ensure that you're getting protein levels that are required. So depending on your activity, you're looking at 1 gram per kilo body weight minimum. It's really 1.5 grams, but if you struggle to get 1.5 grams, then you're not going to go down to 1. But if you're very, very active, you go up to 2 grams per kilo. The English rugby team put up their dietitian puts them up every now and again of their calorie and their macros. Like they're on like 3 to 4 grams.
Yeah,
of protein per kilo.
Videos are
oh my god, they're unbelievable.
Yeah, the
last one, and they have the scrum half and they have the prop, right? And like the scrum half's on 4,000 calories and the prop's on 7, and just the volume of food is it's unbelievable. But they're different. So back to MyFitnessPal. Make sure your protein RDAs are kind of where they need to be. So you're looking at 1 gram per kilo minimum, ideally 1.5 grams per kilo, and then 2 grams per kilo if you're fairly active. Then the tracking of it's kind of handy, right? So like tracking your food does make a big difference. It's one of the simplest things people can do to improve their health, whether you use MyFitnessPal, the free one, or you pay for it. Mm-hmm. Or whether you use notes on your phone. It's a very simple way to do it. You don't get the calorie and the macro tracking with notes, obviously, or old school, which is you write it down, God forbid, pen and paper. Just the same thing. Like most of our clients don't count calories. They don't need to. Once they start tracking it, it automatically improves their food and they automatically have less calories going in without having to actually add in the calories. Because sometimes calorie tracking you can get obsessed with it. It can be somewhat over the top. So writing it down is equally as effective. So
right.
The key thing for MyFitnessPal then is the calories. Make sure they're high enough and not at 12, 13, 1400. They're way too low. They need to be 16 to 2000 calories in that kind of window generally. Part of that, it's handy. It's on your phone. Your phone's with you all the time. It does give you the splits in terms of protein. It'll help you. It'll work with your watch. There is I haven't used it yet, but there's a new AI version of MyFitnessPal, which you speak into your phone and it dictates everything onto the app.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You don't even have to type it in anymore.
And so your advice would be to, for example, if you want to reduce the amount of calories, and albeit like the unhealthy types as well, but you want to reduce it, you'll use MyFitnessPal for a little bit and then cycle off to just basically eyeballing your food.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I think there's another one which is Lose It app. The app, which is you take photographs of your plate and it automatically through AI calculates all the stuff, which is fascinating. And I've seen it, and it's not far off actually. It's pretty accurate.
Okay.
So yeah, you use tech until you trust yourself a bit more. But like, if you use the plate rule of a quarter protein, a quarter carbohydrate, half salad or veg, you're in a calorie deficit by comparison to what you're eating beforehand. Like, so it can be that simple. But for some people, they like the fact that it's on their phone and it does all the work for them. So it is no harm. The only harm is that the calories are too low when you input for a weight loss plan through the app. So bump them up.
Okay. Now, second question I have is, this is from one of our listeners. Hi, Karl. I have a holiday in June. What should I do to get in shape for it? Simple question.
Beachbody.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say Beachbody anymore.
Not anymore.
Those days are gone. We used to do Beachbody plans.
A healthier you by summer?
Or Bikini Body. Oh my God. That brings back memories. That's how old I am. 24 years in doing this stuff. I will actually get to the question in a second, but we used to do like in the media plans for Beachbody and Bikini Body and... Yeah, how times change. Anyway, there we go. So, holiday time. Okay, so we're now into kind of in around March thereabouts. So you're looking at 3 months, 12 weeks. Nice time frame. If you're listening in, that's a really good time frame for change. It's long enough that you're going to see a difference. Like if you lose 1 pound a week over 12 weeks, if it's weight loss that you're looking for, that's close to a stone, which is the dress size for women. It's about a belt, maybe 2 belt notches for men, depending on where the weight is and the body shape of the person. That's like significant. Like 12 weeks is a lovely time frame. It's when people come to work with me, it's 10 to 12 weeks that I sell in terms of a package, and it's a really nice time frame for progress. That's the first thing. Second thing is you have to identify where you need to change. So are you not moving enough? Are you eating too much? Are you drinking too much? Are you not looking at your overall wellness kind of piece in terms of sleep and stress management and stuff? So you have to see where the issues are in terms of your own wellness and then set the target for that 12-week time frame. So what is it? Is it a dress size? Is it just feeling better? Is it feeling healthier? Is it being stronger? And then that dictates what you need to do to hit it. Obviously you need to move more. We know that, a mixture of cardiovascular work. So the movement piece is twofold. One is that you do more general daily movement. So coming in today, I rocked into Houston. I walked up from Houston to the Indo. That's half an hour. I walked up the stairs. I walk up and down the stairs while I'm here. I'll walk back to the train station. I'm moving for about 2 hours in that time frame. And it's funny, when I go into places, people are like, you walked from Houston? I was like, well, why wouldn't I walk from Houston? The sun is out. It's a nice day, you know?
Yeah.
So like that's general daily movement. That's important. More of that. So don't get in the bus, don't get in the train, walk as much as you can. Then you have your cardio exercise. So that's cross trainer, treadmill, bike, running, fast walking, huffing and puffing exercise. Then you need to lift weights. And that's important in terms of strength, in terms of tone and shape. You are going to be on the beach. So like, it's funny, right? You can pick people out how they've lost weight relative to how they look.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So like if someone loses weight just purely through food, chances are they won't have the muscle tone of someone who's done it with weights and food and cardio together. So that's the ideal matrix of it. And then it's about measuring it. We talked about that. And again, back to the podcast library, you'll see there's apps on that in terms of how to track your progress. It's a smart scales. It's not just a scales on its own because it won't give you much content. You want to lose body fat in those 12 weeks and you can track that on a smart scales. And if you're losing muscle mass, you up your protein intake to a higher amount until you stop losing muscle mass.
Right. And I love these because I get to pick your brain for free. Is the cardio huffing and puffing bit?
Yep.
How many times a week am I doing that?
Oh yeah, it depends on the setup. We tend to get people to do one good weights workout a week and then they top up on cardio because people prefer cardio mostly.
Treadmill, Stairmaster.
Yeah, anything really. Anything doesn't really matter. It could be sex for all we care. It doesn't. Once your heart rate's up and huffing and puffing, body's happy.
Gotcha.
Because that's a workout, right? So the heart's working hard enough to get the benefit of it. The body doesn't really care what it does once it's working hard enough to get it, the benefit. All right. So that's where you see all the machines in the gym. There's about 10 different types of cardio machines. There's a rower, there's a skier, biker, cross trainer, treadmill, step master. There's loads of them, and they all do kind of the same thing, really. But it's the intensity of it's important. that to deliver the benefits in terms of heart rate zones. There is a big new push at the minute. You'll see it on Instagram of the slow incline walking, and you have the big buff trainers or influencers, and they're walking up a treadmill and say, "Oh, walk for whatever." That is exercise, right? But it's not how they're getting their body that you see on that Instagram reel. Not a hope. There is really good steady evidence behind steady state exercise for fat burning. It's great, but actually it's in conjunction with all the other stuff that we're talking about.
Right.
It's not just walking up the treadmill.
And there's like a sort of thing I see all the time online is either 15 minutes, half an hour, or 45 minutes. Like, is there any,
No.
outside?
No magic number.
Okay.
No. The magic number from the government is 180 minutes a week, 3 hours a week.
Okay.
Is the magic government or DA for movement, right? So in terms of results, it depends on your time. Like, personal perspective, when I was 30, I wanted to lose a little bit of weight. I had loads of time. Or if I wanted to do an Ironman or whatever, I could find 20 hours a week to train. Now, with 2 kids and traveling a lot more with work, a big week now might be 10 hours, 12 hours if I'm in peak like swimming season or whatever. So it depends on lifestyle. Some people have more time to do more. It's kind of just the more the merrier, really. And that you're not going to burn out or working too hard to burn out, because a lot of people do, And like if it's a 12-week time frame, don't leave it till May, where you have 4 weeks. And then go like Billy O, or then you go in the milkshake diet or whatever. And then you get a big rebound after the holiday. That's zero crack. You need 12 weeks to do it sustainably. And then you don't have that big, and we'll do an ep in around kind of May or June around holidays, how not to gain weight on holidays or how to minimize that. But people who have big rebound weights on holidays, they go into that holiday with a 3 or 4 weeker, like massive calorie deficit to get in shape for the bikini. And then they have a massive rebound. And metabolically, it's messing with your metabolism. It's messing with your head. Because you come back, just the gain is so rapid that when you come back, you can't get back on track.
Yeah.
So that question that came in, that 12-week time frame is just, that's perfect in terms of progress.
Yeah, I love it. And I love like when you have a really long time period rather than the instant, I need to be in shape in 6 weeks. It's mental.
That's what we want. Like, that's what people want. And you see that, like all the mentors who are flooding the industry with the online PTs, that's what they're offering. It's, hey, click on my white label app, which is going to deliver you in 30 days. Ta-da. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in the long term, and that's the problem with it. And they've anyway. We'll open that box later.
Right.
But the longer the time frame, the better. Yeah.
And so next up question. I feel bad for this guy now. He says, I'm 43 and feeling old. Is it just aging, or can I do something about my lack of energy?
I think I wrote that question. I am 43 and I am tired. Okay, so the body changes with age, obviously, right? That's we know that. Middle age now is your mid-30s. You're officially over middle age from your mid-30s onwards, 36, 37, thereabouts. Average lifespan is 70 to 80, depending on sex and gender and demographic, but it's thereabouts. So from 35 onwards, you are over halfway through. Physically, then you start changing. The challenge with the way we live now is that our bodies are changing quicker. So that aging process is starting earlier because we're more sedentary. Now, we do have a very kind of a peak opposite society at the moment where gym going is really trendy, but then the flip side of that is there's a huge gap in the middle to those who are very sedentary. But the more sedentary you are, the faster and the earlier you're going to get older. So you lose muscle mass. That's a problem because you're weaker. So the energy thing is absolutely true, because you just got less muscle to get you around. So everything becomes more difficult. You gain body fat. That's a problem because, again, you've got to move that around. If you're gaining weight, and it's about a stone a decade on average, you have to shift that weight around. And that takes more energy. If you have children at home, that knocks all your energy and life gets harder. So, and then that ties you into the food cycle of how you eat. And again, everything comes back to it's just life is more challenging in your 40s. So with that question, your body is aging. But age is something that it's within your control to change. Like we've had Roseanne Kenny on, we've had Mr. Motivator, we've had all the global experts on in terms of aging health. And we know that you can do so much about it. And that's the thing of movement, that it can re-energize you. To get more energy, you have to put in more energy. So one of the reasons I walk so much around town when I come up is that I'm energized by it. No matter how tired I am, after walking up from Houston, I rock in here generally quite full of beans. And part of that is that I'm moving during the day. The other piece around that is that you're green and blue zoning, so you're surrounding yourself with nature and water. Like today, coming up through the Liffey was beautiful. It's one of those picture postcard days in Dublin where it just makes you feel good. So yes, the body is aging, mid-30s on. It is up to you to change that. If you track your muscle and fat mass and you stop yourself losing muscle mass, you are going to start making things a little bit easier for yourself.
Right.
And the food, that comes back to food and movement. It's all, well, the jigsaw of wellness. But it is, aging's fascinating. And like I was in my, I'm not sure what I'm not going to ask you your age because I don't do that anymore. But like aging is, I'm 43 now. Like as I go through the aging process myself, I not associate, but I understand all the things I've seen over the years. Because I would have always worked with clients mostly who are older than me. And you know, people in your 40s say, I'm so busy, I've got 2 kids and I'm exhausted. And when I was in my 20s, I was like, yeah, but like, why can't you go and do your run? Like, and now I totally get it. 8 o'clock comes, I'm floored. So I have to change my own training schedule because as you change, life gets just more challenging, you know?
Yeah. And the energy expenditure, you're spending it in more shops than one. Final question here is, this is a real hobby horse one is, hey Karl, I'm looking for guidance online on a nutrition and exercise plan. How do I recognize the good from the bad on social media?
Oh, great question. Now, I'm going to hold back on this one, right? I am.
Please don't.
I am because you know my opinions on a lot of this, and it's not coming from a place of bitterness or a place of, you know, I'm the old one in the room, and I don't think I necessarily am, but it does come from a place of concern, right? So anyone looking to get advice, whether it's in person or online or from a book, the key thing you start with is the qualifications. Where are they? If you and I spent an hour looking through a lot of the online content coming from both Irish PTs and European international PTs, nowhere on that page is a qualification. Nowhere. Anywhere. Anyone I look at who is qualified will show off the qualification, myself included. If you look at my page, the first line of my Instagram bio has my 4 qualifications on it. And I think it's really important to have it there. If you look at the white label, they're all selling the same kind of product. They just put their own face on it. And I've seen it, been offered it and turned it down. So it's very much, it's generated. They're not generating anything. They're just putting their face on it. And it's all self-generated in terms of the programs and stuff like that. There isn't a qualification anywhere. And that worries me.
Yeah.
A, because the knowledge, right? You don't have it, but B, you're not insured then. So if you follow X's program and you get really sick from the food plan, where do you go with that? They're not insured for you to be giving the advice. Therefore, if you have a problem and you want to take it somewhere, you can't because they're not, or you can, but they're not insured to sell you that program. So that's a problem first and foremost. You look for that. The second thing is you ask yourself the question, which is, can I do this for 12 to 16 weeks or beyond?
Yeah.
If you can't, you move on.
Right.
That makes sense. So if it's a 4-week, 30-day challenge, or, you know, they pop up my feed every now and again, I'm looking for 6 dads to turn their lives around in 30 days. And you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
That's never lasting, right? That's a short-term burst of quick fix. It doesn't work in the long term. So can you do this for the long term? Yes or no? And if you can't, you move on. Thirdly, is their approach. I'm a firm believer that that's really important, that you work with someone that you like the sound of, not necessarily the look of, but certainly the sound of, and you like their approach and you like their methodology behind what they do. Are they on the hard sell? Are they, because again, they're being churned out like that. They're like robots now. They're all really aggressive and they're in supermarkets really aggressively talking to the camera. And I'm like, I would not want to know that person. They're aggressive and they're angry and they're pissed and they're shouting at me. And like, do you really want to work with somebody like that? I don't think so.
Yeah, and a lot of people are looking for that kind of boot camp, you know, drill instructor.
They are, and if that's your thing, absolutely. But again, it pulls back to the longevity of it. Can you do this for a long term? And some people like being shouted at. I just don't particularly like it very well. And
I think to your third point there, just that, like, you know, is it someone that motivates you? Like, if you have a, for instance, say, for example, this is a question I have for you. You have someone who has no qualification, but they're saying something that's good. Like, they're saying something like, move more, sleep more. Yeah. Like, how do you eat around the bad bits of the apple there?
I go back to so I'm very bit OCD now, and my ASD traits are, I would steer clear. If they're not qualified, they shouldn't be dishing it out. So if they're an influencer, he says, oh, you know, I changed my life because I drank more water. You should drink more water too. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you did. Would I take that advice professionally? No. Would I pay for it? No. Would I drink more water because of it? Maybe. But it depends on how much help you need. If it's something important, I will pay for it, and I will pay for it from a qualified source, and I'll always hold to that.
And is the line then, if they're unqualified and they're saying some general knowledge health piece and they're trying to sell that, then to go
Steer,
look for
move.
Okay.
If they're like saying, look, you should sleep more, we all know that's not rocket science, that's fine. But cortisol is the new one. Cortisol is everywhere now. It's like, oh, your cortisol levels are high, that's when you lose weight. Bullshit. That's nothing to do with your cortisol levels. You're not losing weight because you're not in a deficit of calories, or you're menopausal and your hormones are all over the place. That's why you're not losing weight. But the cortisol is now the new thing, you see. And again, it starts in states and then it filters through. And like that, there's cortisol coaches who have done a day online course and they're selling it. Like, no. Just look for a degree, look for a diploma. Look for anything vaguely that says this person has studied. There's an online PT course I saw yesterday. It's 12 weeks from 0 to qualified. It's 1 day in practical. That's it. Everything else is online. And it's full. And I know the person who's selling it. And I very nearly drove over to the person's facility to have a chat with them about it. Because it scares me with regards to the industry. It's an industry that is deeply unregulated. Despite reps really trying to regulate it, they can't. And that's a problem. Like dietitians are very regulated. We've had, all of them on, and we love them because they're so good. The fitness industry is so unregulated. You don't know what you're going to get. So look for a degree, look for a diploma, look for something very, very qualified, and look for it. It should pop. It should be the first thing they try to sell you is, here's my qualifications. You can trust me. If you don't see them, you move on.
Quality assurance. Perfect. That's all our questions.
Too much of a rant, I hope. That was, there we go.
That was very good.
Folks, as ever, keep an eye on my Instagram at Karl Henry PT. We do our Q&As every Saturday generally, where I let people ask questions and I will answer them as well. As ever, you know where we are at Karl Henry PT is on the Instagram account, Real Health and Independent.ie, and on the Irish Independent website. Don't forget to rate and review and subscribe. It means an absolute huge amount to us. And as ever, we'll see you next week for more Real Health. Slán go fóill.